All right, I want to take a few minutes to just go over some things that I know will be a help to you. That way, if you have any questions, we can come in and spend a little more time. But I wanted to share with you what Connexus Group has to offer. And we're going to start with what is the team imprint. And what basically this is what we do is to however many employees that you want to do this for, we can do this. But I usually recommend, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go along, starting with your leadership team, whether that's mid-level management on up, if you want to drop it down to team leads, supervisors, whatever you want to do. But I usually recommend that you just start with your leadership team to do this, and then eventually you can work to all your employees. But usually to start off with, it's not necessarily the best way to go about this, but we can talk about that later on if you have some questions. But what the team imprint does is it talks about career competencies, personality types, and learning styles. Now, most of us know about personality types, and we probably more than likely have taken some personality tests. A lot of companies may give similar tests, particularly with the DISC model, to assess their employees, maybe even at the hiring process. So you may say, well, we've already done these things. Well, just hold with me, because I'm going to show you what we do with this is we've taken the basic DISC, which pretty much most companies or businesses do personalities deal with this. We have then broken it down into each one of them down into 4 specific ones. For example, in D, you deal with competitive, productive, innovative, constructive. The I's, interactive, persuasive, assertive, instructive. The S, inclusive, supportive, deliberative, investigative. C, dealing with persuasive, cooperative, informative, or predictive. And we break that down into even more details to be able to assess the personality type. And that's usually where most companies deal with. Personality types, it's good to know the personality type, because that does help you understand how they are going to react in a certain situation. But the career competencies is going to be, and this is where we add into this, is going to be where they, what they are going to do once they've been, circumstances hit them. Personality is going to tell you how they're going to react, but a career competencies is going to tell you how they're going to respond to whatever it is that they just faced. What we like to call it is personality types. It's like their first name. It does tell you a little bit about them. It does identify them, but the career competencies is more like their last name. This is how they're going to default every time. And so we've broken that basically down into 9 things. Motivator, networker, marketer, supporter, organizer, trainer, examiner, director, or administrator. This is how they are going to respond and function. It doesn't matter what job you put them in. It doesn't matter the company you put them in. It doesn't matter whatever their circumstances are. They are going to default to these things, because this is how they think. This is how they respond. Again, their personality is how they're going to initially react to a certain situation. So if I know how they're going to react, because I understand their personality type, and I've gotten it broken down to a pretty specific way in which they're going to react, and then I know how they're going to respond, how they're going to take on whatever it is the task that's hit them, that's going to really help me. But then if I learned the other thing, I learned their learning style. In other words, I learned how they learn. I understand, and that's broken down to 4 different ways. They're either going to learn by listening. In other words, these people, you can talk to them, you can present things, and they're going to hear what you say, and that's how they're going to learn. Or kinesthetic. In other words, you're going to have to put them on the line. You're going to have to show them and demonstrate it so that they can do hands-on. Or read write. I'm going to hand them a manual. I'm going to hand them a book. They're going to read it and they're going to understand it and be able to function. Or visual. These are people in which if you show charts and you show in a presentation format to where they see A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way through, they see it. This is how they learn. If I know those things and I know their learning styles, I know their personalities, and I know their career competencies, I then can best know where these people should be in the jobs, where they can function. I can help understand when something happens. I can understand how to respond, what they're going to do. And if I need to do some training, I know that this person, I'm going to have to train them this way. What usually happens is we get employees in there and we simply say, hey, here's the job. Here's what you need to do. I don't understand. I've told them 100 times how to do this job. They're not getting it. Well, if they're not an auditory learner, you can tell them 1,000 times, they're never going to get it. But if they're a read-write person, you're then going to be able to give the manual. They're going to understand it. Then you can understand when something goes wrong. Hey, I can't understand why they're responding that way. Why do they react that way? Well, I know the personality types. Why is it that no matter what happens, they always keep trying to go back to this thing? I need them to do X. They keep coming back and responding this way. I don't understand. Look, they're just not for the job, and you fire them. Well, if you understand these things about the employee, and again, I'm recommending you start with your leadership team. I don't understand. This guy is great. He was great on the line. We promoted him to team lead. We promoted him to supervisor, and it seems we're just not getting anywhere. And you said, I just need him to do this, and you don't understand this. So what this does is we evaluate all of them, your entire team. Now, what we have here is just a made-up company. It doesn't, these people don't actually exist. What we did is created the different personality types, career competencies, and learning styles. So as the senior manager, CEO, whoever the top person on the chain that you set up is literally going to be able to see everybody in your company that has taken this test. So I'm going to be able to go to Nathan here, and I'm going to be able to pull up his assessment. We've tested them on their career competencies and personalities and learning styles. They've taken these tests, and Nathan gets the same report. He sees what you're about to see. And we go through this, and I find out, okay, his personality is a D. He's deliberative. This is how he's going to respond. His career competency, he's an examiner. This is how he works every time. And we learned that he is a read-write. In other words, you need to train him by sticking a manual in his hands and say, read this to do the job. But what we do is we break it down even more. His personality type, he's actually a supportive person. He's actually one who is going to have this. So what does that mean? Well, he's a supportive, means he's stable. He's going to be supportive. He's reserved. He's people-oriented. This person's going to respond to the people around them. He's sensitive. They read people around them. They understand. They're steady. You're not going to have to worry about real highs and lows of this person. You're going to be able to know this person is steady. But how do they think? They're deliberative. That's their personality change. So meaning they're S, but they're deliberative in what they do. You can know that this person is going to be very deliberative in their actions, what they do, how they do that, all of those things. So what does that mean? Well, he's deliberative. He's confident. He's high on accountability. He'll fight for a cause. Look, we got to do this. Steady. Does like that small groups and teams. In other words, you may not want to put him in charge of the entire plant. He's going to take that small group. He's going to take that small team, and you know that they're going to be part of what happens to develop this team. Highly independent. You can say, look, here's what I need you to do. Work with this team. They're not going to need a whole lot of hey, let me see what you're doing. Let's come in on time. A lot of oversight. They're going to be highly independent, can be self-reliant. You can be confident, hey, they're confident enough they're going to do this. They get the job done, enjoys secure relationships. In other words, don't throw a whole bunch of chaotic stuff at them. Let's work on this team. Then their career competency, they're an examiner. What does that mean? A person with the behavioral examiner is usually focused, serious about systems, financial matters. In other words, particularly, let's say we're dealing with manufacturing, they understand the system. This is what has to be done. This has to be done every day. This is the way we're going to do it every day. And they're okay with that. They don't care that they've been doing the same thing for the last 5 years. There's a system. Let's work with it. They're perceptive. They see these things. They're down to the details. They're going to catch those little things that's going to be helpful. That's who they are. But the upside way we do this examination, this testing on this, we see their top ones, market or organization, but their last one is director. This is one who approaches things straightforward manner, drill down to the truth in its entirety. They're tenacious. They go after. They're going to be that one who is just coming at this particular person. The bottom is their director. So a job that demands that, do not give them that job. They will not like it. They will not function well in that. Don't expect this. Hey, I need them to be that go after, speak their mind type person. That's not this person, so don't put them in those jobs. So now that we know that they're deliberative examiner, that S personality, we break it down. Who are you? They see who they are. These are some character traits about them. What do they do under pressure? How are they going to respond? We see that. When are they at their best? When these things happen, boy, if I can put this person in this environment, they're going to respond best. What are their blind spots? Because they're not one of the other personality types, so what are the career competency types? What are their blind spots? Then the part that I love, how do you work with me? If I am that person's boss, and I look at this, I'm going to look and say, hey, how can I best work with this person that they're not going to react negatively? Don't force them in the spotlight. Give them one task at a time. Lay out clearly defined instructions with high level of support. In other words, here's what I need you to do, and trust me, I'm going to back you. Don't question their commitment or loyalty. Look, these are the people, they're going to do the job. They don't need somebody, over top of them. I'm not sure if you're going to, I don't trust you. Look, you just don't question the commitment or loyalty. Listen to their advice when they're trying to calm a situation. Because remember, they're deliberate in their thinking. They're seeing things. So listen to them and acknowledge their hard work, because they're going to work hard. This is how you deal with them. So when we understand that they're a high S, here's their characteristics, here's the motivation, here's their traits. We understand that. Then we get their learning style, read, write. We look and see, here's what they mean, here's what it means. So now I have got a good understanding of who this person is. So as the leader, I'm going to be able to see everybody. I'm going to see the report. I'm going to learn about them. But the upside is, you notice that these wheels that are here, they've been put. So now I know everybody who's an administrator, motivator, networker, marketer, supporter, organizer, trainer. Let me stop there. I know everybody who sits there, and this is how they're going to respond every time. They're going to be a trainer. Let me get a quick example. Manufacturing, you're sitting, somebody's on the line, and this is their core competency. They're an hourly worker. Their job is to sit there and put this screw into here every day. All day long, they're going to do the same motion. They're going to do the same thing. This is what they're going to do. This person's a trainer. They're going to look to the person to the right. They're going to look to the person to the left. They're going to see how they're doing it, and they're going to stop and say, hey, look, let me show you a better way to do this. And you go, look, you got to focus on your job. You got to focus on, look, this person, they're gonna respond this way every time. So you say, but I need them on the line right there, but they seem like they're just getting distracted because they're looking at everybody else. Well, if you know they're a trainer, that's how they're going to default. Maybe some suggestions for this person is put them at the front of the line, put them at the end of the line. So at least they're only going to deal with one person standing next to them. Or they may be the one that you want to put in a situation in which it doesn't slow down. They're going to be able to, as they learn it, they're going to be able to, the person standing next to them, hey, let me show you a better way of doing this without slowing your line down. So I don't want to put Bob C, Pam H, Patsy J, Steve R. I may not want to put them on the line in that position, except for to maybe learn it for a little bit. Then I'm going to pull them off, maybe put them in the next line, learn a little bit, because ultimately I'm looking at this person going, you know what? I may need to look at training this person to be a trainer, because that's where they're going to adapt every time. So now I've got a list that I can go with. Personality types. Here's my dominant people over here. But if I need somebody who is going to be supportive, deliberative, investing, hey, I need you to find out what's wrong here. What's going on? Why are we missing something on the line? I don't want to put somebody here that's competitive, that's this deep. He's going to come in and go, yeah, well, the problem is these people are just lazy, good-for-nothing people. Well, you didn't find anything out. But I'm going to find Jeff and Dawn and Greg, and I'm going to sit there going, hey, watch the line today. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you're seeing. But notice in our thing here, supportive here. I don't have anybody here. And I need somebody that's going to be, if you will, the attaboy person. Hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, can I help you with something? I don't have anybody in that spot. So maybe when I'm in my process of hiring, I need to find somebody as I get this test, and I need to find somebody that has this, because I've got a gap. I've got somebody that I need for my team that I don't have. This becomes a great tool for HR. Then when I do my training, I need this wheel. Because if all I do is lecture and tell everybody, the only people that are going to get it is this group here. The rest of these guys, you're going to get so frustrated. Why don't they get it? Well, because you're not teaching them the way they learn. So if I now know that these people all learn differently, I'm going to create 4 different training times. And I am going to sit there and I am going to train the auditory one way, the visual, the read, write, and the kinesthetic. I'm going to teach them differently. Or if you're in a situation where you've got to have everybody together, your presentation must have all 4 things in them so that all 4 groups can learn. Otherwise, you're going to have a group that is not learning, or 3 groups that's not learning, because if I'm an auditory learner, then I'm going to default assuming everybody learns the same way, and I'm just going to present the same way. And that's not how this works. So this is a pile of information that you're going to be able to get here. Now, what I recommend is you just do this to start with your leaders. And if I was to just give you each person in your leadership team, in order just to take this test and do this evaluation, this is not normally a sales tactic, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to cost about $79 per person to do this. And you're going to get this information. Now, there's a way in which we can do bulk. If you get a whole bunch of people, that may reduce it down. But I'm going to just share with something else. Just having this information, then you're sitting there going, I get this information, but I need to train my leaders, because, boy, that's where I think our issues are, is our leaders need to be better leaders so that we're dealing with our hourly workers. Then what I want you to do is I want you to look at Launching Forward. Launching Forward is a leadership group here, Leadership Academy, where you can take every one of your leaders and you can put them through this program here, and they're going to be trained how to be leaders just by simply enrolling in this academy. It's all online. It's video-based, as well as there are projects and things that you can do in after each of videos. The videos are about 2 minutes long. I think the longest one is somewhere between 9 and 11 minutes. So it doesn't take a lot of time. And then they fill out some stuff, answer some questions, and it's all personal to them in dealing with their leadership. And if they were to do this, it is a monthly subscription to this thing. So they can stay on for 1 month, 2 months, 5 months. They can go through the whole program. Obviously, we recommend that they go through the entire academy here. But if they were to just do 1 month, first month is $2.19. In 1 month, they will get to lesson number 10, and lesson number 10 allows them to do this test at no charge other than $2.19. And you will get that same information about your leaders just by doing this. Then, after that, it's $20.19 for them to continue through the academy. And let me tell you, there's some fantastic stuff that's in there. And here's what they get. Intro to Leadership. What it does is it gives you videos every day, and it'll drop 1 video a day. It deals with the introduction to launching Leadership Academy, so it explains a little bit. Meeting areas to lead yourself better, because what we do is we begin to talk about how to lead yourself. You can't lead others until you lead yourself. You got to deal with your personal understanding and issues. And when you clean those up and get those things where you understand how you think, how you respond, your learning style, that begins to help you to understand other people have different personalities. They have different competencies. You learn those things. So you go through all of those and basically got 9 categories here where you lead yourself, busting through barriers. Boy, I'm just trying to be a better leader, but doesn't seem to be able to get there. We train you how to do that. Then you come over here, you see learn self, learn business, lead business. You are taking you through these things. And again, each of these will have a video with some things that will help them. And I recommend that all your leaders, you do this for $2.19. If for nothing else, you get the $79 testing that you come with career competencies, personality types, and learning styles. They get that. You'll get that as a company, have that information so that you can use that in training your leaders. But again, obviously, I'm sitting there going, if you'll let your leaders go through this whole program, and roughly, even if they can't do something every single day, you can go through the whole program in roughly about 6 months. So if you take 6 months times the $20, you are going to get some great leaders for a great price and training them to be able to do what they need to do. That's where, if you can get your leaders, if nothing else, get your leaders to do this and walk through these things and develop their leadership skill, that's going to turn around your company, because it will help them as they work with your hourly workers. Most people quit their jobs not over getting a better pay someplace else. They quit because the leader that's immediately above them is an issue. There's a conflict. If you can reduce those conflicts, you will reduce your turnover. And if your leaders will learn these skills that we're teaching and they can reduce that conflict, your turnover rate is going to virtually disappear. Now, to the great tool. Catalyst Connect is a team development training tool. This right here, as we present it to different companies, has been met with overwhelming love. And I'm going to tell you why. Because if your leaders now have a skills to lead, you're now going to be able to train your people in such a way in which you are going to see a development of your teams, all the way from your senior management team all the way down to your hourly team, in such a way in which you are going to be overwhelmed. Here's what happens. We create your teams. And here's your teams. Your teams are made up, and we've got it laid out here. Director leaders, people leaders, and emerging leaders. Director leaders are going to be your management group that are dealing with processes. They don't necessarily on a day-to-day basis constantly work with people, instructing people, though they're going to have people underneath of them, which are typically going to be your people leaders. But the majority of their day is not dealing with actually dealing with people. The majority of their day is dealing with the processes, the behind the scenes, all of these things need to be in place. Whereas your people leaders, these are the ones who are interacting directly with your employees, people all day long. And then your emerging leaders are typically your hourly workers, but you've identified some people that you think, hey, these people they are ones that we think eventually will move up. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a way in which I'm going to train them. And here's how this tool works. I'm going to pick somebody and I'm going to diagnose them. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to deal with learning others, dealing with how are they responding to the people around them? How are they responding to themselves? Remember what we learned in launching forward the Leadership Academy. You got to learn to lead self before you can lead others. And then high-performing teams. How are they impacting our overall team in such a way in which we're seeing some dynamic growth? So these are my three main categories that I'm going to deal with, and I'm going to do some diagnosing. How well are they doing? So let's just deal with learn self. I'm going to come here, and I'm going to ask some basic questions. So here's the date I observed them on. I'm going to give a title to this, and it can be anything. I may just sit there and say, this is a monthly evaluation on how they're dealing with themselves. I call it whatever I want. Just give it a title there, and I'm going to start this. And then I'm going to ask 5 basic questions. Are they open and honest about their strengths, weaknesses, and mistakes? Hey, we've gone over some things. They know. They've been given a list. Here's your strengths. Here's your weaknesses, your mistakes. Are they open and honest about it? Are they admitting this thing? Well, maybe their answer is yes, but for the sake of what we can show you what I'm doing, I'm going to do no. And then I'm going to go through it. It's going to ask me some additional questions. Personal discovery. Open and honest about their weaknesses. How are they doing on that? And I'm going to give them poor, fair, good, or excellent. Deals with personal frustrations effectively. And I'm going to ask these questions. So for sake of time, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to answer these things. And I'm just going to put some things in there. So now I've got that documented. Do they promote a culture of acceptance, approval of others? Yeah, they do a pretty good job there. If no, it would give you some other questions to ask. Do they seek feedback, modify the behaviors, improve outcomes? No, not really. So let me do some evaluation again. They do really good on this, but not so good on this. And go through here, and again, I'm just giving a quick evaluation going through here. Do they understand how critical workflow efficiency affects the entire organization? Yeah, they've got a pretty good understanding of that. So I'm going to go there. Are they productive, assertive, and recognizing problems and bringing business savvy solutions? That's where they're having some issues. So again, I go through good, poor, good, fair. I've done this. Go through here. Now, I've done a quick diagnosis of this person. Now I'm going to have notes for the team member. I'm going to type in some notes. I'm going to put in here some things, and I'm just going to type in some different things, and I'm going to say, all right, here's some things that I noticed on this date. Let's work on these things. Just paying attention to these things. Then I have a note for yourself. This is only you and the management team above you will see. You want to do this because eventually you're going to talk to this person. You're going to sit down with them. Most companies do year-end evaluation. We're going to talk about that in a minute, where you're already going to have the notes that are here for this. So you type in some notes here, and you put those things in here, and you submit that. The notes for the team member gets emailed to them, so they see the diagnosis, they see their notes. they understand what has happened here. Now, after a while, I'm going to develop this person. In other words, I've diagnosed them. Now I want to develop them. So I'm going to come back to this person and I'm going to develop him. Now, what you have here is roughly about 350 to 360 different ways in which you can develop them. What is that? There's videos in here. There's TED Talks. There's newspaper articles. There's magazine articles. There's different things in here that deal with different issues. So I'm going through here and saying, look, this person, conflict issues. So I'm going to sit there and say, hey, look, I need you to read this article. And I need you to think about some causes, some things, and dealing with how you deal with conflict. And I'm going to assign this activity. That activity is just an email to this person. They have that, and you give them a certain amount of time, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, for them to do that assignment, to sit there and say, okay, I'm going to follow up on this. I'm going to do this. You've just given them something to develop them in their skills. Now, I'm going to go back to that development stage here. Let's say you've gone through those 360 things and you say, well, it's not really dealing with specifically what we need in our company. This is the great part of this tool. You can create your own. If you've already got training videos, if you've already got training manuals, if you've already got things in place that you do in your training, and you say, boy, they really didn't quite get it they do, you can upload that into the system. And the only person and the only company that will ever see this is you. Because when you purchase this, when you put this into your system, this is all for you. And anything you put in is totally proprietary to you. Nobody else will see this. I won't see this. Connexus won't see this. No other company will see this. It is all for you. You put that in there, and you'll pick what type of learning type is. If it's somebody up there presenting something auditory, if there's visuals, if it's read write, in other words, you're going to give them an article to read. Kinesthetic, you sit there and say, hey, look, next week I need you to go with so-and-so and go get on the line with them, and they're going to re-show you how to do it. That's the assignment. Visual, I need you to meet with the trainer next week again on Tuesday afternoon at 3 o'clock. I need you to meet with this person, and they're going to go through this again with you. You can assign that. You put their name, aliases, if in other words, if they're known by nickname or whatever, the development activity, you name it, some coaching tips. In other words, saying, here's what I want you to really focus on. Focus on this aspect. In the video, listen for this thing. You put that in there. This is how much time it's going to take you to do this. This is how long the video is. This is how long the article should take you to read those things. Here's the behaviors, and it lists all these different types of behaviors that I'm seeking to improve their behavior. And then available, if you want to just put it for you, hey, I just want this for me. This is something I can use, fine. Or all the coaches, anybody that is in your leadership team, hey, they can access this one as well. And then you submit it, and it's in there. So everything that you have that you are already presently have, just upload it into your system. And I'm going to show you why that is very important, that if you've already got them, that you're going to want to do this. But then we come to the point where we're going to debrief somebody. This is when you're going to sit down one-on-one. Typically, most companies sit there and say, okay, we're going to do a year-end evaluation. Now, the problem I have with year-end evaluations is you're going to sit down with them late November or December and say, back in January, you really messed up. Well, what good is that telling them in November or December? You're not helping anything. And chances are, if they continue to mess up, you fired them. So you didn't even have a chance to talk to them about this and work with them. We recommend that you talk with your employees at least once a month. If you're in small enough groups, you should be able to have somebody sitting down with somebody twice a month, and you're going to go through their debrief. Let's see, I'm going to pick somebody here to debrief. Okay, so what you have is these are all the assignments. Now, again, this is a dummy company, so these people don't really exist. But had they existed, they would have completed these tasks, and you would click on the debrief button. It would pull up all the notes. It would pull up all the assignments. It would pull up all of these things, and you could sit down with them and go, hey, look, we were talking about developing, supporting others. Here's the assignment we gave you. Here's what's going on. And in there, you're going to be able to evaluate, did they do the task? Did they do the assignment? Did they learn from it? You might even sit there and be able to go through and say, you know what, I gave it to them. They didn't get it, but maybe this wasn't the best assignment. Maybe it wasn't the best thing. So I'll actually be able to evaluate and say, you know what, I don't think this assignment really works for us, and you can make a note of it. That way, HR, senior management, they'll get a report of those and say, hey, I've got about 20 supervisors that have said this thing really isn't effective. Let's take that tool out. Let's take that out. Let's not even give them that option because it doesn't seem to be working. You can remove it from the list. And so it gives you all of these things. Then last thing is insight. I'm going to deal with some insights on these people. So I'm going to put here, and what I'm going to be able to do here is all the development activities I've been giving them. How well did they do dealing with this? For example, conflict resolution. All of these categories. You know what? I'm going to break it down even more. I'm going to develop them even more in each of these areas. It allows you to go back to that development stage because ultimately you want them trained to the level that you've asked them to be trained in. So what does this mean? Well, I've diagnosed my people, my team. I've developed them. I've debriefed them once or twice a month. I've gone into the inside. I'm seeing how that's working. Hey, I want to do a little bit more on this. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to come to my reports. And I'm going to look at these things and say, how is my team being developed? And I'm going to see, are they making the goals? It's the desire that I'm here. And I'm going to be able to get a report on all of my teams. I'm going to be able to see all of these different things. How are they responding based upon their competencies, their behaviors, the assessments, the coaching. And this is the thing I like about the coaching. As senior management team, I'm going to be able to look at my coaches, my team leads, my supervisors, my mid-level managers, and see how well are they doing in developing their people. I'm going to be able to see, are they giving assignments? Are they doing these things? Are we moving these? All of these reports will be at your fingertips. And so you're going to be able to assess your team, your performances, as well as your coaches. You're going to have all this information. So when you do your year-end evaluations, you're just going to be able to pull up a report of each individual, of each team leader, of each supervisor, of mid-level management. You're going to be able to see how everything's responding, and you're going to be able to deal with this. And so when somebody comes in a complaint about a team lead, a supervisor, or manager, and you're sitting there going, hey, what's the issues here? I'm going to go back and say, hey, have they been giving you assignments? Have there been some conflict resolutions? Have you worked through this? I'm going to be able to tell. I'm going to know whether or not they've done this because they're going to need to be able to, in every interaction they have, do these things, which includes a piece of tool that I absolutely love. And this tool right here is general feedback. I'm going to pick a team member. And every leader that has a team underneath them needs to use this tool. I personally think once a week, minimal. And that is for Jody here. I'm going to give Jody either a kudos, hey, man, did a great job. Boy, I saw how you interact with this person, did a great job. Or guidance. Was noticing the other day how you interacted or how you handled a conflict, how you handled this, how you responded to a situation. Boy, all of a sudden, hey, something happened to the machine. I watched them respond, and it wasn't the way we want you to do. I'm going to send you some guidance here. You have a note from the team that will automatically, when you're done, will be emailed to that person. They will get that, which means they'll get a kudos, encouragement. Now, I still encourage you to walk up to them and say, hey, look, I saw what you did a great job. But this documents it. This documents, hey, I did say, hey, man, you did a great job. They will always have that email. They will always be able to go back and say, man, hey, when they're running through their profiles, or they'll say, oh, yeah, man, that's right. I appreciate them coming to me and saying something that, or guidance. Hey, they need to be explain what happened. But then you also, again, here want to put notes for yourself and your management team. Why? Because if an employee comes and says, hey, this supervisor, this team lead, they're always picking on me, all these issues or whatever, you as HR, you as senior manager, will be able to go back and see, hey, yes, but they pointed this out. Or, hey, look, you're saying they're picking on you. They gave you 12 kudos last month. I mean, they think you're doing a great job. I don't understand. Maybe we're missing something here. You will have this information to work with. I'm going to tell you, this is a tool that everyone should use. Now, some of you may be looking and sitting there going, yeah, but I can't sit at my computer all day. You don't have to. You can either take your tablet or your smartphone, and all of this can be pulled up on this. So you could be out there on the line as a supervisor, as a manager, whatever. You pull your smartphone up, you pull up the app of this thing, which it's more than just an app. It's actually based solely from your source that you're getting it from, and you will be able to pull up the individual, and you'll be able to diagnose. You'll be able to debrief. You'll be able to give instructions to. You'll be able to do kudos. You'll be able to do everything from here. So you don't have to wait to go back to your office to sit there and say, okay, I got to remember what I did. So it's all done live. It's all done. And as soon as you do it, it's immediately sent. It's immediately reported. Everybody on your up level as far as management team will immediately be able to see what you're doing, as well as those people when they get a chance to go review their emails, go back to their reports, they'll be able to see what's going on, all from this. So you don't have to wait to go back to your computer. All of this is done in such a way in which you have immediate results, you will have reports, everything's done. There's one thing from an HR standpoint, we always say document, document, document. People hate to document because they hate to go back and pull out all this paperwork, write things out, fill things out, fill forms out, print stuff off, submit these things. Even if you have forms in which they can go online, they type these things on, but they have to print them out, have to get them. They don't want to do these things. Everything's done from this. You don't have to do anything other than just have one of these available to do all of your diagnosis. You'll break your teams down. And from senior management and HR positions, you will be able to see everybody from the top. Senior managers, you're going to have mid-level manager underneath you. You're going to be training them. Managers are going to have supervisors. Your org chart, boom, you've already know where everybody's at. And then when you get down, eventually when you're going to add in all your team in here, everybody's put in the system. Everybody's getting trained. Everybody's getting evaluated daily, live, with all the reports. So from a human resource management's position, from a senior manager's position, you will be able to see what is going on with your team every day, all day long. And if you see certain people are not getting evaluated, not being diagnosed, they're not doing their jobs, they're not getting the performance indexes done, you're not getting these team leaders are not evaluating anybody, nobody's giving kudos, nobody's giving guidance, nobody's giving assignments, you're going to be able to go to them and say, hey, look, I need you to do these things. You will know. You don't have to guess or wonder, are they doing their job? You will know that they're doing the job because everybody has to do this. They should be doing something every day, because if they've got a team, they're not going to be evaluating everybody every day. They should be doing somebody or something every day. All of those things are going to be put in place. This is a fantastic tool. If you then go back and everybody has done these, eventually as you work through that, you've got career companies, personality types, all of these things, and you walk them through this thing, then when you get down to your individuals, when you are evaluating your individuals, you will then be able to pull up every one of your individuals, and you'll be able to see what is their career competencies, what is their personality, what is their learning type. If I know their learning type, then I'm going to give them assignments based upon their learning type. And you will have all of that right there in your hands, right here with a smartphone. That's all you need. And it will revolutionize your training, because you'll be able to upload all of your training materials to this, and you will have a report at the end of the day. That's what we're all about. Connexus Group, we're here to serve you as a company to make your people better people. And I hear this all the time. Well, we would love to have better employees, but it seems like the better companies get the better employees. Well, we want to be able to make you the better employer so that you will have better employees, because we're going to train your employees, or should I say, you're going to train your employees to be better employees. And if you got a better company, you will have a better employee. And if you got better employees, that'll make your company better. When you do have to go hire, you'll be able to hire the better employees. That's what we're here for. Connexus Group is here for you. Business consulting, executive coaching, workshops, events. We can come help you through this. We can be there live. We can do this via video. We can work with you to develop this whole system that you see on your screen. We can make you a better company. And I will tell you, you can get rid of your turnover rate. You get your people to stay longer. You get your people better developed. Your quality issues will disappear. Your issues in dealing with who you are supplying, who your customers are, they're going to be happier. You're going to see more business come your way. And it can all be done with these simple tools that we're offering you. So if you have any questions, log on to theconnexusgroup.com, or you go back and look at the videos, Imprint Assessments, launchingforward.com. You can go on any of those sites. You can get our contact information. You can email us, give us a call, any of those things. We'd love to be able to sit down with you and help you develop your company. So let us know what we can do to be able to help you in what is going on.